What does it really take to be a leader? It's not about having all the answers or always being in control. Brené Brown's Dare to Lead flips the idea of leadership on its head by saying the strongest leaders are the ones who dare to be vulnerable and brave. In this video, we'll dig into what it means to lead with courage, even when things feel uncertain or uncomfortable. At Poetics of Success, we don't just summarize books. We explore how deep ideas about courage, vulnerability, and trust can guide your own journey to becoming a braver, more authentic leader. Subscribe for more powerful insights on how to lead with courage, build genuine trust, and create a life rooted in vulnerability and strength. Brené Brown is a researcher, storyteller, and professor from Texas. For over 20 years, she has studied emotions like shame, courage, and vulnerability. She became famous after her TED Talk in 2010 about the power of vulnerability, which has been viewed by millions around the world. But long before the stage lights, Brene was a social worker who struggled with perfectionism and self-doubt. Her work is deeply personal because she talks about what it means to live with a full heart, even when it's uncomfortable. People connect with her because she shares her own fears and failures, not just the science. Today she writes books, teaches leaders, and helps people understand how being honest and open can actually make us stronger. Her goal is simple: help us become braver in work, relationships, and life. Dare to Lead was published in 2018, and it quickly became a bestseller. The book was the result of many years of research that Brené Brown had done with leaders, teachers, and teams across different industries. But the idea for the book didn't come overnight. In fact, Brené had already written several books before this one, including Daring Greatly and Rising Strong. What made Dare to Lead different was that people kept asking her, how do we take these ideas into the workplace? This book was her answer. Before she started writing, Brené spent time working with organizations, big and small, to understand what was missing in leadership. She took notes during team meetings, workshops, and even quiet moments when leaders shared their struggles in private. Then she turned all that research into a guide that was part science, part storytelling, and fully practical. The book made a big impact. It was featured on the New York Times bestseller list, and it sparked thousands of conversations in workplaces around the world. Many companies used it in leadership training and book clubs. Some even brought in Brene or her certified facilitators to teach the material in person. An interesting twist in the book's journey is how much Brene included her own learning process in it. She didn't write Dare to Lead from a place of "I've figured it all out." Instead, she often shared moments when she got things wrong, when she was scared, or when she had to go back and try again. That honesty made the book stand out. Now let's delve into the book and explore how Dare to Lead shows us that vulnerability is the seed of strength. Courage begins with showing up. Values shape our leadership, and trust is something we build, one choice at a time. Most of us are taught that leaders should always be confident, in control, and unshakable. But in Dare to Lead, Brené Brown turns that idea upside down. She says that real courage doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from being vulnerable. So, what does vulnerability mean? According to Brene, it's about being open to uncertainty, taking emotional risks, and letting yourself be seen, especially when it's uncomfortable. It's not about sharing everything or being weak. It's about showing up, even when you can't predict the outcome. Imagine you're a small business owner launching a new product that no one's tried before. You've invested time, money, and energy. You don't know if it'll succeed. That moment, the fear, the excitement, the risk, is what vulnerability looks like. And Brene says those moments are where trust and innovation begin. She even shares a story about speaking to a group of military leaders. Instead of trying to sound like the expert, she chose to be honest about what she didn't know. At first, it felt scary. But that choice built real trust. The leaders respected her more, not less, because she was real. Many leaders think they have to hide doubt or act tough all the time. But this kind of always in control style can actually hold teams back. When a leader admits, "I'm not sure," or asks, "Can you help me with this?" That's when real collaboration starts. People feel safe to speak up, share ideas, and take risks too. So, the big lesson here? Vulnerability isn't a weakness to avoid. It's a strength to develop. And it's often the very thing that turns a good leader into a great one. In this part of the video, let's look at what it really means to be courageous as a leader. Brené Brown explains that courage isn't something that just appears when we feel strong or confident. Instead, it starts when we choose to show up, even when we feel nervous, unsure, or afraid. She says many people wait to feel brave before taking a risk. But actually, courage is built by stepping into those uncomfortable moments first. One powerful idea from this section is that there's no courage without vulnerability. If there's no risk, no uncertainty, and no emotional exposure, then you're not being brave. You're just staying safe. That means real leadership often feels scary at first. It requires us to speak up, try new things, and have hard conversations, even if we're not sure how it will go. Brene shares an example from a team she worked with, where everyone was avoiding honest feedback. They were worried about saying the wrong thing, so no one said anything at all. But that silence created more confusion and tension. When someone finally spoke up with honesty, it was awkward, but it also opened the door for real change. That moment was a small act of courage, and it made a big difference. Courage doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be quiet. It can look like asking a difficult question, admitting a mistake, or telling someone the truth with kindness. These are the real acts of leadership, and they don't happen without risk. So, when we talk about daring leadership, we're really talking about showing up, even when it's hard. That's the heart of courage. Now let's talk about values, what they are, and why they matter in leadership. Brené Brown says that knowing your core values isn't just a nice idea. It's a necessary step for leading with integrity. In her research, she found that daring leaders don't just talk about values. They actually live them, especially when things get tough. She encourages people to identify just one or two values that truly guide their actions. Not a long list of nice-sounding words, but the few that really shape how they make decisions, treat others, and respond to challenges. For some people, it might be honesty. For others, it's accountability or compassion. What matters is that those values are real and personal. Brene shares that when leaders know their values and act on them consistently, they build trust. People around them feel safer because they know what that leader stands for. But when values are unclear or just used as buzzwords, people can feel lost or even manipulated. In one part of her work, she describes a moment when a team was under pressure to cut corners to meet a deadline. But the leader stepped back and said, "That's not how we do things here." It was a small moment, but it sent a strong message. We're going to stay true to what we believe in, even when it's hard. Living into our values isn't always convenient. Sometimes it means saying no to things that might bring quick success. But in the long run, it's what makes a leader trustworthy, steady, and respected. So this section is a reminder. Values aren't just words on the wall. They're actions repeated over time, and they matter most when they're hardest to follow. In this section, Brené Brown dives into one of the most important parts of leadership: trust. She explains that trust isn't something leaders can demand or buy. Trust is built over time through small actions. Brené calls this process braving, which stands for 7 key parts that help create real trust between people. The letters in braving stand for boundaries, knowing and respecting what is okay and not okay. Reliability, doing what you say you will do. Accountability, owning your mistakes and making them right. Vault, keeping confidences and not sharing private information. Integrity, choosing courage over comfort, doing what's right even when it's hard. Non-judgment, being able to ask for help without fear of being judged. Generosity, assuming the best in others and giving people the benefit of the doubt. Brené says that if any of these parts are missing, trust can break down quickly. But when all 7 are present, trust grows strong, and teams become more open and creative. She points out that building trust takes real effort and courage. It means leaders have to be honest, admit when they're wrong, and listen without blaming. It also means giving people space to be imperfect and still be respected. One important reminder from this part is that trust is a two-way street. Leaders need to earn trust, but they also have to be willing to trust others in return. So, braving trust isn't easy, but it's the foundation for any healthy team or relationship. Dare to Lead doesn't give you a list of leadership hacks. It gives you a mirror and a map. For anyone wrestling with leadership in small businesses or solo ventures, Brené Brown reminds us, you don't have to be perfect, just brave. It's about showing up, embracing vulnerability, and choosing courage even when it's hard. If this resonated with you, subscribe to Poetics of Success for more book-based breakthroughs that help you lead, live, and grow. And remember, leadership isn't about titles, it's about courage. True leadership starts with the small, brave steps we take every day. Until next time, may you find wealth in purpose, success in service, and the consistency to lead with heart.